Thinking about moving to Utah? Before you pack your bags, here's a list of 10 things that might just make or break your move. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to the channel, Living in Utah with Connor Holt. That's me, I'm Connor Holt, and hey, I'm a realtor here in Utah. I work with eXp Realty, but on a specific team called Home, H-O-M. We're a little fancier than normal. We also have this cool little line above the O, so now you know it's home, not hom. Anyways, glad you could be here. Thanks for taking a chance to watch this video. And obviously if you're here, you're looking to know about 10 different things that you should know about making or breaking your move to come into the state of Utah. Utah is a wonderful place. I've lived here my entire life. I was born here in 1994 and it is now 2025, and so I'm turning 31 this year. I'm old, wow. I haven't lived anywhere outside of Utah other than for a 2-year service mission I served in the country of Chile. So really, for almost all those 31 years, I have been here in this state, and it is a wonderful place. I absolutely love it. My whole family's here, and hopefully this video won't make you want to go away from Utah, but to actually come here and hang out with us, because it's a great place. So let's start with our first spot, Utah weather. You know, the weather here in Utah is really, it's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting. We've got 4 seasons here, depending where you are in the state, of course, but the majority of the state will see 4 seasons of the year. You're gonna see the spring, summer, fall, and winter. However, there are very many times during the year you might see all 4 of those seasons in one day. Usually that's gonna be between spring and the fall time, because you'll see times where you're gonna have leaves falling and then you're gonna have snow falling. It's gonna be 70 degrees outside and then all of a sudden there's plants growing. I don't know, dude. It's kind of crazy. Here in Utah, it's dry, and so we get some awesome weather. But like I said, it can be crazy sometimes. I have played golf on Christmas Eve before because there was no snow, and I have gone skiing on the 4th of July because there was snow. So it's very unique. It comes year after year. Something that's kind of interesting is it's typically like every other year you have a really good snow. So last year we had no snow here in Salt Lake City, and so I believe this next season, it's gonna hit us hard and it's gonna be fantastic. I love the snow. We do have the greatest snow on earth, so don't forget about that. That is a tagline on one of our sets of license plates. It's the greatest snow on earth. One of the reasons why we have the 2002 Olympics as well, and they're coming back in 2030. Woohoo! So it's gonna be a lot of fun. The cost of living here in Utah, and I'm going to do another video on this that's a lot more in depth and detail, because there is just a ton of information on the cost of living, and so I don't want to skip over anything. But you know, the most important statistic that you need to know is when you adjust for the cost of living, Utah actually has the highest median household income in the entire nation. So that's a pretty big win there for Utah, which is awesome. That means that while some things are definitely pricey, the salaries here tend to compensate for that. Once again, it's also depending on where you're living at. It gives more people purchasing power than in other states. So think about that a little bit there as we're talking about this. With that, what's expensive and what's cheap? There's a lot to it. Let's start with housing, for example. Housing, you know, as unfortunate it is because I'm in real estate, housing is tough right now. It is high. We are actually above the national average. From some of the different statistics I've found today, we're anywhere between 17 to 57% above the national average, depending on which source you go with. The median home price is now just over $517,000, and I've seen other stats that say it's even higher than that. But once again, that's also depending on like where you're looking. If you're pulling directly out of Salt Lake City, if you're pulling up north, if you're looking in Cache Valley, you're going to be somewhere closer to probably the $450 for the median household income. Salt Lake, Utah County area, you're in that 500 range, maybe a little bit higher than that. But the really expensive ones, if you go up to the Park City area, you're looking $1 million homes essentially. So I mean, it's going to be kind of tough there with that. But other than that, I mean, it's been awesome. The transportation costs are also not the best here in Utah. We don't have the best systems still in place. We're looking at making it better here and there for what we can do. We've got the UTA, so the Utah Transit Authority, and they are working on getting systems built better. We've got the Front Runner, which is a speed train, goes about 80 miles an hour. They're actually extending it down further into Utah County the very far end of the Utah County, and it goes all the way up to Ogden. So you can hit all along there. I mean, that's if you're driving in a car, that's roughly about an 1.5 hour drive that you can be doing on the freeway. Then you also have the tracks, which are going to be extending down to Utah County. They also go out to Draper, they go out to West Valley. You can take them all the way down to Salt Lake City, all throughout Salt Lake County. And they're working on those. You got the bus systems. Some cities actually have free transportation. If you go up to Logan, Cache County, you're gonna have a free bus system, which is really nice. Anywhere in the city is all free. You just hop on the bus and go. And that's their way of trying to help kind of give back to the community a little bit. But you do get some more relief in other areas when we're going back to the cost of living. For example, you have utilities, which are about 4% cheaper than the national average, and groceries are about 2% cheaper. And other miscellaneous goods and services are a whopping 12% lower. So there's a whole lot of different things there, which is kind of nice. So it kind of balances out the transportation and the housing needs with having the highest median household income. So the high paying jobs balances out by paying for everything else you need. There's also a huge advantage with taxes. Utah has a low flat income tax of 4.55% and one of the lowest effective property tax rates in the country at just 0.5%. On top of that, homeowners get a 45% exemption of the value of their primary residence, which provides a massive tax savings. And now it's not going to work if you happen to be an investor and have other properties too. If you have investment properties, if you have secondary properties, third properties, those tax savings don't go on those. It is solely for the primary residence, which is huge and awesome for the homeowners. Let's move on here a little bit for the outdoor lifestyle. Utah is really a playground for anybody that loves the outdoor life. Currently I live right in the smack dab middle of Salt Lake City in a little small city called Murray. It's right in the middle of the Salt Lake Valley. So I'm about 10 minutes from anywhere in the valley, which is really nice, depending on how the time of day and traffic and things like that. But right in front of me right now, I'm looking at it, is the Wasatch Mountains, Wasatch Front. I live right in front of Mount Olympus, and I've climbed that one many times. There are several peaks around the Salt Lake Valley that you can go climb. You've got Lone Peak, you've got Twin Peaks, you've got Mount Olympus, you've got smaller hikes like the Ensign Peak, which is like a mile hike. It's really not hard at all. And you've got several different places to hike up and throughout the mountains. A lot of awesome opportunities here with the Wasatch Mountains here in front of us. And then you've got hiking all up and down the range from the entire state. On top of that, we've got the 5 national parks down south. You've got 5 national forests here throughout the state as well. And there's about 47 state parks, if I remember correctly. There are several lakes that you can go fishing, you can go boating, you can go swimming in. There's the Great Salt Lake, which is kind of cool to see too if you haven't ever been out there. It's kind of smelly. It smells real bad because there's a lot of brine shrimp and flies and huge spiders. I mean, they're like this big, and they live in like big clumps. There's a lot of spiders all together. If you're not a spider person, don't go out there. You're not gonna like it. And if you don't like bugs, you definitely won't like it. But it is a cool experience to at least go out there once. There's a lot of outdoor things you can do here, and Utah is fantastic for that. I took my family out this past year to a state park called Goblin Valley, and there are a lot of cool rock formations out there you can go out to. My kids love jumping on top of the rocks and running out there all day long. They were just constantly running around. It's a great place to just take your kids and let them go. The national parks are really cool too. We went down there in spring of 2024 for a water polo competition because I'm a water polo coach as well, and we decided to go a little bit further south and go hit at one of the national parks, which we'd never gone to as a family, taking my kids to, and it was a lot of fun. We just ran around all day long and had so much fun. So there's that. There's a lot of off-roading opportunities. Don't forget skiing and snowboarding. Utah's got the greatest snow on earth, like I've already said, and it's amazing. There's a lot of awesome parks here in Utah. I would highly suggest, if you are a skier, to buy a ski pass. If you want to learn how to do it, buy a ski pass. It's very expensive if you're going to just go for one day. You have to find the right ski resorts to buy a daily pass. It's probably going to be like Beaver up near Bear Lake. A daily pass there I think is about $60, which is honestly the cheapest in the state. Everywhere else you're going to be 100 to 150 plus for a day pass. And so if you buy a ski pass early on in the season, before summer's over, you're looking at paying anywhere between $500 to $700. And as it gets closer to that ski season, it's just going to go up and up and up. But that way you don't have to spend the entire day there. You can go for a couple hours, enjoy it, go home, or stop there after work, go there before work, however you want to do it. And it's amazing. The skiing here is awesome. I've skied honestly most of the resorts throughout my life. My personal favorite's got to be Snowbird out of Little Cottonwood Canyon. It's not groomed, and so there's a lot of moguls. It's very much not a beginner-friendly resort, but I did a class out there when I attended Salt Lake Community College where we just skied with a ski instructor for about 3 hours. They improved our techniques, and then we had the rest of the day to go skiing. Best class ever. If you go to Salt Lake Community College, take that class because you will not regret it. So, a lot of fun. Here in Utah, it's very much a family-friendly culture. If you don't know the history of Utah, which most people who don't live in Utah don't, but Utah became a state in the 1890s, if I remember correctly. The people that were here, they came here as refugees. They left the United States, came to a territory that was not taken by anybody other than, there were Native Americans here, but it was not claimed by a country, and they were Mormon pioneers, or members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, right? They came here because of being kicked out of other states. They didn't like that. They wanted to go away from people, and they found this place. They founded it. They built a community here, and they started going. So, being members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, they are big believers in Jesus Christ, big believers in family, the family unit, having a mom and a dad and kids all together. That is a core central belief of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so, this is a very family-friendly place that affects different laws, like alcohol laws. If you want to go and buy liquor or anything like that, you have to go to the state liquor store. You can't just go to the gas station or to a store like Walmart and purchase it. You have to go to the state liquor store. But definitely a lot of community events in almost every single city. There are always going to be things for kids to do. There are tons of parks for kids to play at. There's just a lot of things for kids to do and for families to do, and something, for example, to include that culture with our team, Home Utah. We actually do 3 family-friendly events a year. We do things like an ice skating event at the beginning of the year in February, March-ish. Our biggest event is in the summertime. We rent out the entire park at Cowabunga Bay just for our clients to come and have fun. We don't do any sales pushing at any of these events. Just, hey, come have fun, bring your families and love it and enjoy the time. And then our last event that we are going to be doing here in the next month or so is a fall festival. Last year we did just a little pumpkin patch where you come and get a free pumpkin and then go home. But they weren't little, they were big pumpkins, like this big. It was huge. It was awesome. Utah's job market, kind of like I talked about during the cost of living, Utah's job market is pretty dang awesome. I think I was reading a stat the other day that we're about 3.3% with the unemployment rate right now, which it's not the best, obviously, but it's not the worst. I think I read that California, for example, is up to almost 6%, which is, double what Utah is. There are a lot of jobs that are out there here in Utah, and just a couple things. For example, I don't know if you've heard, everyone knows what Silicon Valley is, but have you heard of the Silicon Slopes? That's actually a new term for me. I hadn't necessarily heard that myself, but as I did some research on the tech companies that are here in Utah, there are a ton. The Silicon Slopes kind of is a combination of Salt Lake Valley or Salt Lake County and Utah County. There are a lot of tech companies that are here. Just to name a few, we've got Qualtrics, Ancestry, Domo, Pluralsight, Bamboo HR, and Adobe. Those are huge companies right there that are all just based right here out of Utah. Overstock is another one. It's not as big as Amazon is, but Overstock used to have this huge headquarters here that just sold to the county. And I think they're still here. I think they're just changing locations of where they were going. There's a lot of tech companies here in Utah and a lot of money that comes back to the residents because of tax dollars that come from businesses. There's a lot of car dealerships. If you drive up and down State Street, you're going to see car dealerships almost probably every mile. There's going to be major car dealerships, especially here in Murray City, for example. Right over by the Murray High School on 5300 South and State, there's like 5 or 6 that are right there next to the high school that are big Larry H. Miller dealerships that have all the big names: Fords, Honda, Toyota, everything over there. Hyundai, everything you can think of, you're going to find them there. And so you're going to find jobs almost wherever you need to, and in whatever sector you're looking at. If you pull it up on LinkedIn looking for jobs, or thejobs.com, wherever you're looking at, you're going to find places that are hiring and looking to hire people for almost any industry. Traffic and commuting in Utah can be insane, especially as keep coming back to Salt Lake and Utah County areas. If you're driving I-15 at rush hour times between 4 and 6 p.m., you're probably gonna get stuck somewhere. And so if you're doing a lot of commuting for work, you're gonna have to either learn the back roads and avoid I-15, or you're going to have to deal with the traffic, right? If you're going south at that time, you're gonna be on the freeway probably for an additional half an hour to an hour, depending on how far you're driving. Going down to Utah County that time is just gonna be insane because everybody comes up from Utah County to go to work. Same thing and in the mornings, if you're driving into Salt Lake from the north in the mornings, you're gonna be, at 8 o'clock, you're gonna be a lot of traffic because people are coming in out of Davis counties into Salt Lake to work. Same as that going out. If you're going out of Salt Lake County, like anywhere, going both directions, honestly, in the evening, you're gonna be stuck on I-15. So I'd really learn to know the back roads of the Salt Lake area so you can hop off the freeway, drive around, get to where you need to quicker, and then get back on the freeway as needed. But if you are not on there during rush hour, honestly, the traffic's really not that bad. I-15 will get you to anywhere you need to in the state. It goes from the top to the bottom, from all the way from Idaho to Arizona, and it's an awesome. Takes about, if I remember correctly, about 5 hours driving the speed limit roughly from top to bottom. Or if you're like my cousin, Buff Runner, if you haven't heard of him, go look him up on Instagram. He ran the state this year from that same thing, not on I-15 because you can't do it, it's against the law, but he ran it and actually broke the world record for it and did it in just over 9 days, I believe, from running from Idaho to Arizona, which is crazy, absolutely crazy. He's an awesome guy. But commuting is there for the most part is really great, especially here in the Salt Lake Valley. Like I said, I live in a city called Murray, right in the very smack dab middle of Salt Lake, and it takes me about 10 minutes to get to anywhere in the valley, depending on how traffic is and which routes I need to go. But I can pretty much get anywhere that I need to, and I'm not complaining about traffic at all, which is great. But some strange statewide laws. Ready? Here's a few of them for you. Whale hunting is illegal in Utah. I don't know about you, but you know, I just wanted to go hunt some whales here in this landlocked state. Yeah, because you know, how many whales you're gonna find here in Utah. Maybe in the Great Salt Lake, maybe, you know, it's super deep down. Or, you know, there's the Loch Ness Monster in Bear Lake, so maybe that's what it is. I just want to read a little bit about it. This law prevents hunting of whales within Utah's jurisdiction, an unusual restriction considering the state is landlocked and whales have not inhabited the Great Salt Lake since prehistoric times. So, I mean, that's actually kind of interesting because I didn't realize that. Prehistoric times, there were whales here in Utah apparently. Interesting. I need to go back to the Natural History Museum and learn more about the whales that were here during prehistoric times. All right, the next one is do not cause a catastrophe. Oh, shoot. It's a first-degree felony to cause a catastrophe, defined as a widespread injury or damage from a weapon of mass destruction, fire, flood, or avalanche. Committing the act recklessly is a Class A misdemeanor, which, you know, is good. We do have a decent amount of wildfires here in Utah. This year, particularly in 2025, has been quite insane. There's actually been more man-made fires than wildfires, but wildfires have burned a lot more land and acres than the man-made fires have been. Weather modification requires a permit. You must obtain a permit from the Utah Division of Water Resources to cloud seed or perform any other activity to artificially alter precipitation. Which, you know, I mean, I could see that being a good thing. There's been a lot of conspirators that are saying cloud seeding is doing some crazy things here in Utah with the weather. I mean, Utah's weather is already insane as it is. But I mean, like 2 weeks ago, we had a huge mudslide down in Utah County in the city of Provo because of all of this rain. We had monsoon weather, like it was dry all summer. We went for about a month and a half with no rain, and then all of a sudden we had a week and it rained every day. And I think Utah County got like an inch plus of rain all in one day, which was crazy. So it just brought down a lot of mud down into the city for the big mudslide. Keep at least one hand on the handlebars. Utah state law forbids riding a bicycle or moped without at least one hand on the handlebars. You also cannot carry an item that requires both hands to carry. Oops, I've broken that law because I can ride my bike with no handlebars. That's a throwback. Sure, that kind of dates my age right there. And then marrying, oh, this one hurts. Marrying a first cousin is restricted. It is illegal to marry your first cousin unless both individuals are over 65 or 55 and can prove to a court that they are unable to have children. Oh man, okay, that still hurts. No, that still hurts. I mean, at first it was restricted, but you can still do it. What the heck? Why could you marry your first cousin? Why would you want to marry your first cousin? And on top of that, okay, that one's weird. Last one here, just so we move on. Bury dead pets quickly. State law requires that a deceased domestic animal be buried within 2 business days. You know, that's probably a good thing, I guess. You obviously don't want to have anything crazy happen, you know, disease and whatnot that spreads quickly after things are deceased. So I can understand that one. It's not very crazy on that one, but I guess if you have an emotional attachment to an animal, you're gonna also want to be able to be there with the animal a little bit longer. Growth and development here. So let's specifically talk about the Salt Lake market. Growth and development in Salt Lake is definitely, I mean, it's been booming. It's changed a whole lot, but it's also at the same time slowing down a little bit, right? You're not seeing as many single family homes built here in the Salt Lake area as much as you are in other parts of the state. So if you're looking to find a new home here in Salt Lake, you're really looking at more of a community like townhomes, for example, possibly condominiums. There's a lot more of those that are going up all over the place, especially here in Murray, where I live. Within a mile radius of my home where I'm living at currently, I have 3 new subdivisions of townhomes. I've only been in 2 of them. The third one I haven't gotten to go look at yet just because I don't really like how the layout is. It's one of those 3 floors where you enter in, have like a little small room, and you have to go up to the main living area and then up again to the bedroom area. And so it's just like, I personally wouldn't want to live in a house like that. It's a lot of stairs to have to go up and down every single day. And like, what happens if you're running late to work? You run all the way downstairs, get the car on, and then you sit in the car, you're getting ready to pull out, and you realize, oh shoot, I don't have my phone. Now I've got to run upstairs all the way again to go get it. You're running up the stairs, you're out of breath. You finally get your phone. You look at it, and you're even later to work now, and you run back downstairs, get in your car, and then you forgot something else, and you have to go back up again. It's a lot of stairs all in one day. So personally, that's not my favorite layout. If I was going to live in a townhome, there's a really cool one that's right over here by me. Like I said, one of the 3 is it's done by Brad Reynolds, and they have like 6 or 7 different layouts of townhomes. And my favorite one, I mean, they all had basements, which is really cool. Some of them were only 2 floors, but the majority of these homes were 3 floors. So you walk in on that main floor, and then you have the basement to go into as well. The main floor and the top floor were finished, and the basement was unfinished, but there was a potential for a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom, no, I think a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom home. But with the unfinished basement, you have the potential to put in 2 additional bedrooms. Like, can you imagine a townhome with 5 bedrooms? Like, that's pretty insane. Like, that's something you could live in for quite a while, as long as you like your neighbors, at least, I guess. But other areas in the state, Utah County is booming. It's crazy right now. There's a ton of construction of both single family and multi-unit homes that are being built, especially on the northern end in the Saratoga Springs area. There's a lot of new homes that are being finished up there. Out in the Eagle Mountain area as well. And then there are some other ones up in Cache County, up in the Logan area by Utah State University. There are a ton of new homes up there as well. Cache County is very similar to how how Salt Lake County was 200 years ago. You know, it's very much a farming community still, but a lot of the farming now is being converted into more of a residential place to build more homes, which is interesting to see. But it's huge. Like, I lived there for about 6 years, and I really only stayed near this downtown part of Logan, which is close to Utah State University. Didn't really venture out more to other parts of the county until recently. With being involved in real estate, I've gone up there to help a lot of clients up that way. And the valley is absolutely huge. And it just blows my mind, because I thought, when I think of Cache County, I think of Logan and where I was there. The housing styles, we're gonna look at how Utah really is based. There are a lot of communities where it's going to be smaller neighborhoods and suburbs with single-family dwellings. There are a lot of single-family dwellings all throughout it. If you're looking in Salt Lake County, let's kind of pull it down and just narrow it down to just this little area here. You're gonna have neighborhoods all throughout the entire county that are single-family homes, where you're gonna find ramblers, you're gonna find bungalow and cottage style homes, you're gonna find two-story homes, you're gonna find A-frames, you're gonna find literally everything, split entries, tri-levels, multi-levels. You're gonna find whatever kind of home you can think of and imagine here in the Salt Lake Valley. You'll have some Victorian style homes if you're closer to downtown where it's a little bit older there. With a lot of the new subdivisions that are being built though, you're losing the acreage. So on this house I'm living in right now, I've got about a 1/4 acre and it's a 2-story home with roughly about 4,000 square feet. So it's a pretty big home here. But a lot of the homes now are being built to be a little bit smaller, closer to maybe 3,000 square feet with a lot less land. You're looking maybe anywhere between, 0.1 acres to 0.15. So it's really not a whole lot. When you're looking at these communities, they're all being built up in these new townhomes or these new areas. Especially if you're looking to a townhome, you're looking at 0.01 acres. You're looking at, you have a little small square to have to mow the lawn every day or whatever. How you're going to do that, I don't know. If I lived in a small place like that, I probably wouldn't even have grass. I'd probably take it out and make it a little garden or something, or just have a little patio rather than having grass I have to worry about mowing. Downtown, you're going to see a lot more of the condos and high rises and things like that. Expensive homes down that way. If you're looking for an expensive place, you want to look at downtown. Fun place to live, fun place to walk around. There's a lot of life that goes on that way, and so it's a lot of fun to see that too. You're going to be able to do a lot more commuting on the public transit if you live down that way, whereas if you're out in the suburbs, you're going to want to have a car or something that can at least get you to the public transportation, I would say myself personally. The last thing we want to focus on first is kind of the Utah lifestyle and vibe, what the work-life balance is. You're going to have a lot of traditional values here because of the strong Christian vibes in the state, where you have a father that goes to work, mother that stays home with children. However, that doesn't work for everybody, and especially today's economy. There's a lot of people here that have to do the double work life, where the mom and dad are both working to try and meet the income needs for the family. There's a lot of that goes on in the state, so a lot of people are working there as well. Something I also wanted to mention is that if you're big into sports, Utah does have a lot of sport teams as well. When it comes to professional sports, we have the Utah Jazz. We now have the Utah Mammoth. So Utah Jazz being NBA. The NHL, we have the Utah Mammoth that just got changed. We have our first year with our team last year as the Utah hockey team. They had a big voting from all the people here in Utah, and they decided to change the name to the Utah Mammoth. And so this is going to be the first season with the Utah Mammoth at the NHL. We've also got like a minor league hockey, which is the Grizzlies. We've got baseball. We've got currently 2 teams baseball-wise. We've got the Utah Raptors up in Ogden, and I believe they feed into the Utah Bees. I can't remember 100%, but the Utah Bees is a minor league team. The Raptors like a AAA. The Bees I think are like a AA, and the Bees actually feed into the LA Angels, the Los Angeles Angels, which is my MLB team. But I know there's also debates here of trying to get an MLB team here in Utah as well, which would be super awesome, very exciting. The Bees actually just changed their stadium from Salt Lake City out to South Jordan in Daybreak, and I hear the stadium's awesome. I haven't personally gone myself yet. I'm trying to hopefully get there to at least one game this year before the season's over, because we're getting real close to that. I love watching baseball, but my wife, on the other hand, is not a big baseball fan, and that's okay. Other teams we've got the Major League Soccer team, the Real, and we got a women's team there, Utah Royals, and then the Salt Lake Real. National sports-wise, I think that's everything we've got for professional stuff. But when it comes to college sports, wow, we got some big schools here. You got your smaller schools like Salt Lake Community College, Westminster, Southern Utah University, Utah Tech down south may have a sports team or something. Weber has probably a couple things there. But your major schools are going to be Utah State University out of Cache County, the University of Utah in Salt Lake, and Brigham Young University in Utah County. And if you have never seen a football game or basketball game between Utah and BYU, you're missing out. Utah and BYU have defined what it means to be a rival school, and it's called the Holy War. It's crazy. Like, it doesn't matter which team is doing better during the season. Like, Utah could lose every single game, and then BYU wins every single game, and then they come to this match, and all of a sudden BYU just gets smacked on the side and loses to Utah, and that would make every Utah fan happy. They could care less as long as they beat BYU. It's going to be the same thing on the other side. Utah could be winning every single game, BYU is losing every single game, and then they come together, and then BYU wins. Like, those games are so unpredictable. It doesn't matter how you're doing throughout the season, but because of this rivalry and how big it is, and like literally everyone in the state gets involved into it, it's so much fun. It's great because Utah and BYU this past year in 2024 just got back into the same division. BYU was independent for probably like 10, 15 years, and now both of them, Utah left the Pac-12 and came to the Big 12, and BYU left being independent and came to the Big 12. And it's been so cool to watch the culture of everyone coming back together and just the fight going on. I'm personally loving it. I'm a BYU fan myself. My family are all Utah fans. I betrayed them, sorry guys. I love sports, I love college football. Not as big into NFL myself, but college sports are great. But you know what? This video is huge, it was long. It's a lot longer than I was planning to be. Hopefully you stayed for all of it, and if you learned something new, comment below what you learned, and if this at all entices you to move to Utah, you know, great. If you are looking for somebody and need some help getting here, I am a realtor here. Like I said, I work for Home EXP. Home's my team. EXP Realty is the brokerage I work for. We are all about the experience. When it comes to a transaction in Utah or with our team, we don't just count transactions, but we try and create a community of people and help people together. We've helped over 530 families move to Utah or move within Utah and find different homes here, whether that's purchasing and selling. You know, we've helped people move and do things like that. And one thing we actually do when I say move is we go and we actually help physically move you. We've got a big truck and trailer that we come into your home, package stuff up in, take it to your new place and drop it off for you and help you out. So that way you're not doing it all by yourself, and that's what we're here for. So if you need any help with that, please feel free to reach out to me. My contact details are below. You can email me, you can call me, you can text me. If you ever have any questions, always feel free to reach out, and I would love to answer anything that I can to help you out. If you're looking just to invest and buy another property, that as well is also acceptable. Anyways, for now, that's our video, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in, and hopefully you learned something about living in Utah with me, Connor Holt. Catch you later.